Okay, so in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make the Fibonacci sequence in Python. So in this tutorial, we're going to cover variables, if and else statements, as well as for loops. So the Fibonacci sequence is this. You see the sequence? It's 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, etc. And what's happening here is the first term of the sequence is 1. The second one is also 1. The third one is 2. And the reason the third one is 2 is because 1 plus 1 is 2. And you see the fourth position is 3 because 2 plus 1 is 3. Fifth one is 5 because 2 plus 3 is 5. So you can see all of them over here. And basically the rule is n is equal to n minus 1 plus n minus 2, where n is the term of the sequence. So yeah, we're going to make this in Python. So let's get started. We're just going to create a variable called length, and we can set this to whatever we want. I'm just going to set it to 10. What this will be is how many terms of the sequence do we want to print out. The second variable we're going to create is actually called sequence, and this is just going to be what we're going to add all the terms of the sequence to. We're just going to set it to empty for now. Okay, so those were all the variables we're going to use in our program. Okay, so now let's make our main for loop. This is just going to be for I in range length. And length is just the variable we created here. So in Python and most programming languages, they actually start counting from 0. So what this is going to do, if we just over here, let's say print I, you would think it would just print out numbers from 1 to 10, but actually it prints out numbers from 0 to 9. That's just how programming languages count. So in order to actually get it from 1 to 10, we're going to have to put 1 comma before length. And what this does is say, so we're going to want to start the range at 1 and end it at length, which is 10. And if we try it now, it gives 1 to 9. But we want 1 to 10, so we can just do length plus 1. Now if you run it, it's 1 to 10. So let's just keep it like that now. So now we're going to do the actual conversions from regular numbers from 1 to 10 to Fibonacci numbers. So if we look at the Fibonacci sequence here, we see the first two terms are 1 and 1. Now we can't really use a formula like we can for the rest of the terms to figure out what the first two digits will be. So we're just going to say if I is 1 or 2, just append 1 to the sequences variable. So let's type that out now. If I in 1 or 2, then we're going to do sequences or sequence dot append, and in the brackets we're going to write 1. Now let's print the sequences variable and run our code. We get 1 and 1. That's what we should get. Now let's type in else, and this is going to be what it's going to do for any other digit other than 1 or 2 for the value of I. So we're going to go back to our Fibonacci sequence, and we said the rule would be n is equal to n minus 1 plus n minus 2. If we're trying to figure out the fourth term of the Fibonacci sequence, for example, we would have to look at the previous term and the one before that and add both of them up, and that's how we would get the fourth term. So if we type that in Python, it would be sequence dot append, and what we're going to do in these brackets is the conversion. So we're going to do sequence I minus 1, and that's going to be the previous term, plus sequence I minus 2. That's going to be 2 terms before. So now let's run it. Oh, what does it say here? List index out of range. Okay, so let's try and see exactly what has gone wrong. So we'll go through the loop as I. So I starts off as 1 because we started at 1, and it's going to check if it's in 1 or 2, and it is in 1 and 2 at the first 2 times it goes through the loop. So for the first 2 times it's going to be added to the sequences variable. Then when I is 3, it's going to go to else, it's going to go here, sequence I minus 1. So I is 3, and it's going to go to I is 2. And then it's going to also add sequence I minus 2, which is going to be, since I is 3, it's going to be sequence index 1. So over here, it's going to be adding sequence index 2 to sequence index 1. Well, as I told you before, in programming, they count up from 0. So it's going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the third item in a list will actually be index 2. So when we say sequence index 2, we're actually referring to the third item in that list. And at this point, there is no third item in that list. So what we're going to actually do is make this I minus 2 and this I minus 3. And now if we run it, see, it gives us the Fibonacci sequence. And if we check it with here, you see it's correct. And then we can increase the length easily over here. Let's say we want the first 20 digits of the Fibonacci sequence, and we run it, we get the first 20 digits of the Fibonacci sequence. So that was how to make the Fibonacci sequence in Python. If you have any questions about this tutorial or anything you would like to ask me, please write it down below in the comments, or any future video suggestions you might have.